Hey guys, welcome back to the next part of our series. So, today we're going to continue with the Interior Midday. So this is a more, I would say, traditional look on the, like rendering and stuff. It's actually going to be super short. This is one of the easy ones. And the reason why this is, or tends to be a lot easier is because when it's midday, the sun is up high and shadows are usually underneath the subjects. So what I'm going to do here real quick, and this is really cool, I can actually grab all of the lights that we've created. You can actually go select all by type, and I believe we can select lights. No, that's just yeah, lights. Huh? That's a shame. Anyway, so I'm gonna grab all of the things that have lights. All of this guys, this guy, this guy, this guy. I'm just gonna Control G to group them, and it's gonna be called the golden hour. Let's grab all of this 4 air lights and group them over there as well. So as you can see, we have all of these elements right here. And if we were to hit H to hide that specific layer, and we render now, we're not going to see anything, right? Like there's absolutely nothing. Maybe just the, I think it's just, what do we have here? Is it the helix, right? Yeah, it's that the one. So let's grab this helix as well. Let's get it here inside of the golden hour. And there we go. Now, technically, if we were to render, it will be completely black, which is fine. I'm also going to grab the plane and get it in here. And that way, when we render now, it should be completely black. Now we're going to start building from scratch, and you can actually create multiple lights, like even multiple sky dome lights, and it's perfectly fine as long as you don't have both of them active. Okay, so right now one of them is hidden, and that's it. Now if I were to render right now, what's going to happen, it's just a big white light coming into the scene. When selecting HDRIs, you want to select ones that again are easier to like control, and in this case, if we go to just skies, it's better to select a sky that is a very like overcast skies are always better because you have more control over how the whole light is gonna happen. If you select this kind of skies where there's again a directional light, you are gonna have that directional light on your render, and it could be a little bit more difficult to control. You can try it, of course, you're free to try it, but I personally like using ones that are like this one where it's just the sun up high and we have like a very simple normal effect. So we're gonna download this one. This is Shanghai Riverside. And we're gonna, of course, copy this into our source images because that's the one that we're gonna be referencing. And on this one, we just go here, File, and we grab our Shanghai Riverside. There we go. In just 1 second. So yeah, now we have this Shanghai sky. Oh, of course, you wanna rotate this thing so that the sky is closest to the window if you want to get the most direct light possible. And if we were to check a render now, we would have something very similar. We'll have this very nice blue hues going into the scene, as you can see right here. Long shadows as well because we have a strong light coming from the window. Of course, if we move this around a little bit, like this, let's move the sun a little bit to the side. We're gonna get this. Just normal light coming into the scene. Let me turn off the lens effects so that we can see what's happening. You can see that's still quite warm, and we don't have any temperature. I'm pretty sure we don't have any other effect. So even though we're using a very like nice like it's supposed to be a neutral light, we're still getting this very warm color. And here's where we need to learn a little bit about color balance, right? Like color balancing our lights. So I'm gonna start with an area light again. Big area light is going to be coming from the window. I'm not going to change the spread. It's going to be a really soft light coming into the scene, so something like this. And I'm going to use color temperature to bring this a little bit up. So if we know, or if we see that the light that we're getting into the scene is quite warm, we can use a cold one, a cold light in this case, to balance that out. So let's bring this up to like a 10. That was like the magic number that we were getting, maybe 15. There we go. So now as you can see, what's going to happen is that it's not going to look as warm because we have a different approach to things. So I'm going to try something a little bit lower, maybe like a 12. Oh, that looks really nice. Let's try 13. There we go. That looks really, really nice. And here's the trick. That's why I mentioned that this one was going to be a little bit faster than the other one. I'm going to assume that whoever lives in this department is not home today. He went to work, he went to the park or something, and he turned everything off. But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be any light on the department. And as you can see, right now the shadows and everything's still quite dark. So here's where we can again use the trick that we used on the last video. Hopefully you saw the whole video, of course, and you didn't just skip ahead to the cool parts. Because we use this very, very big panel here that it's helping us bounce the light. It's kind of like helping the photons bounce around, and it's kind of like giving them a second life, and that's going to give us way, way more light here on the interior. It's going to look a little bit more like a clear render, as you can see right here, but I like it. I'm definitely going to bring this down. Let's try 11. There we go. And feel free to add as many of these ones as you need. So for instance, I would expect the back wall here to also serve as a sort of bouncing point for the elements. So now when we render, as you can see, we're gonna have this. Now this back wall will definitely have less energy than the ones in front of it. So we can bring this back to something like a 10 or even like a 9. And we still get these very nice cool shadows here on the back parts of the elements, but it's not gonna be like they're not gonna be overdone, right? Like we're gonna have this very, very cool effect, and it's gonna look like an overcast day. We'll still have this very nice effect here on the window. I actually think I wanna like rotate this around the HDRI, so I'm gonna rotate it back so you get there we go. Look at that. We get this very nice effect on from the bars on the window. It's now being projected here on the walls. Again, here's where some directors might be like, oh, you know what, like the shadows down here are way, way too dark. Is there something we can do about it? And that's when you as a rendering artist will need to use more of this feeling things to emit a little bit more lights. For instance, I can duplicate this one right here, and I'm gonna use this one to bring some light here on underneath the stair. These are the artistic decisions that you're gonna have to make every now and then. And yes, we are, as I've mentioned before, breaking a little bit of the things that you would normally find on a set on your house. Like you're never gonna have your house with all of these lights just playing around. But in CG, in the CG world, in the 3D world, it really doesn't matter. What matters is that we can get these things to look as nice as possible. So as you can see, I'm getting some light there. Now be careful though, because as you can see, this thing is getting real close to the stair, and that's illuminating the stair there a little bit. So we might want to just like balance this out. Maybe even change, like here's where we're using like a cylinder lamp is really good, because we can just get the cylinder in here. And since this is more of a kind of like a 360 degree, it's gonna make it look a little bit more natural. I think we can rotate this like this. Usually the corners and the ceiling are gonna be less affected by light. That's when where we get the sort of like ambient occlusion and stuff. But as you can see, by adding that light right there, we're helping the whole environment make it seem like light is bouncing in a more natural and realistic way. And at any point, if we feel like that's a little bit too much, we can just like reduce it a little bit more. So we do have a little bit of light on those walls, but not as much. Same deal for this guy right here. Like it might seem a little bit stupid what I'm about to do, but believe me, I've had clients where like, hey, you know what, like the render is looking great, but I don't like this shadow underneath this object or back here. Can we get something? And I always tell them, yes, of course we can do something, but just keep in mind that this is no longer realistic. So if you try to build this exact set somewhere, it's not going to look the exact same way, because we are adding more lights than what we're using, right? So we can add one big panel of light literally underneath the table, and of course lower the intensity quite a bit. There we go. So now the shadows underneath the table are not as big. Now the closer we can get it to the actual shape of the table, the nicer it's gonna look, because as you can see, there's a couple of like additive shadows happening right there, and that's definitely something that we don't want. So you want to keep things as soft as possible, even if we have to go like above or all the way around. There we go. So again, this is no longer realistic. This is no longer the way physics work in the real world, but it might save you from those kind of clients that want things that are just not possible, right? So yeah, as I mentioned, guys, this is a quick one. Honestly, when we're talking about midday like cinematography, there's not much you can do. Like, there's just a big, super big, bright light in the sky, which is the sun. And even if we were to turn on lights here on the room, they wouldn't really make that much of a difference because there's so much energy coming from the inside. And you can see this on and if we just look for cinematography, you can see this in scenes where it's like on the outdoors, like this kind of scenes, right? Like there's not much you can do on the lighting department. There's usually just going to be one, maybe two or three directed lights if you want to have a couple of rain lights and stuff. But look at this, like there's just nothing or not much we can do, right? And where you're going to be able to play around and make this thing look a little bit more cinematography or more cinematic is, of course, with the filters, with the color balance, using this sort of like teal or orangey or pinky colors. That's where you're going to be able, on the post-production side of things, you're going to be able to tweak this even more and get something looking way more interesting. So I'm gonna save all of the slides that we created here, Control G, and we're gonna call this midday. And this is what I love about this exercise, that we can turn this one off, turn the other one on, and it's pretty much the same thing. Like we keep everything. So whenever I'm showing clients this sort of stuff and we're playing around with lighting scenarios, it's always good to have several options, right? Like even if they're not like completely sure of what they want to do, just show them a couple of options. They don't take that long to render. They don't take that long to experiment with, and they're gonna appreciate it way more than just showing up with one single idea. So I'm going to stop it right here, guys, and in the next one we're going to talk about dark scenes, like in the night. Like, how can we light the scene so it looks interesting when we have a night scene on our room. So hang on tight, and I'll see you back on the next one. Bye-bye.